All right, let's move on now to the final email of the day. And the final email today comes to us from Alex, who writes, I stumbled upon this interesting article from Variety about the Game Awards. It's basically about how it is the only award show with a growing audience. Well, that's because it's relatively new, but because it's not only about presenting awards, but also about showing exclusive trailers and video game reveals. Since the Oscars are struggling with a declining viewership, do you think they could copy this idea and show new trailers or even announce new movies at the show to attract more viewers? Well, first of all, here's the thing. Has there been years that the audience of the Academy Awards has declined? Yes, but make no mistake about it, generally speaking, other than the Super Bowl, there's no other bigger single watched event, normal annual watched event than the Oscars, still to this day. But I'm going to tell you what, I think you just mentioned the best idea I have ever heard for increasing the viewership and interest in the Academy Awards. Robert, I've heard a lot of bad ideas over the years, including this fucking ridiculous best popular movie category.
Don't mince
Shove
words,
it up
Sean.
your
What
ass.
do you really
That's
think?
such an idiotic thing. Anyway, I've heard a lot of bad ideas, but here's the thing. You make, to me, the special thing about the Oscars that I have always loved so much, it is the dear, and by the way, other than Christmas, which is very important to me, other than Christmas, the Oscars is my favorite day of the year. It is the one day of the year to celebrate the movies and celebrate. We celebrate the movies every day, but really designate a one day to celebrate the movies. The idea of using that platform and coordinate, like who makes up the Academy? All the studios. Coordinate with all the studios. Guys, let's do what people traditionally look at Comic-Con to do. Let's make the big announcements. Let's drop those first looks at something coming out this year. Let's make it an event to celebrate the year that was and to celebrate the year to come. You mix in both, you do a couple of things. Number one, you maintain the integrity of the awards themselves, and you don't start doing all these bullshit best popular film nonsense. So you maintain the integrity of that, but also you give us something to look forward to every year. I'm telling you what, I feel idiotic, which I do every day, but I feel idiotic right now that I never thought of this. This is the single best idea I have ever heard. You coordinate with the studios, you make this happen, you make it something that everybody wants to tune in and watch. People tune in who don't watch football, tune in to watch those Monday Night Football games just to watch new trailers. You make this the event to do that, you blow it off the hinges. Am I getting too excited about this, Robert? Can you think of some downsides of this idea? Because I'm thinking this is a great idea.
Well, this is a fantastic idea. There is absolutely no downside to this idea at all. I mean, look, how many people tune in? You're looking at, there's how many 200 million views of that Lion King trailer?
230. It was the second largest, despite it being on a holiday weekend when a lot of people aren't on the computers, second most viewed trailer in history.
I mean, you could make the Academy Awards a 6-hour broadcast, and you could spend time profiling, do profiles of, instead of having the Barbara Walters special that used to follow the Academy Awards, why don't they spend 4 hours profiling all the actors and all the directors and all the tech people and all of everybody that makes movies special, and make it a day, like you said, of celebrating films? I mean, what do we do as movie pundits? We spend each and every day talking about movies, waiting to see these trailers. What you just said, turn it into a event programming where you drop these trailers, you make it like Comic-Con. I think that's, like you said, it's a fantastic idea. And turn Academy Awards not just into a broadcast, turn the Academy Awards into a day of celebrating the art of film. All film, all the highfalutin, highbrow Oscar movies that you might not have seen. I mean, one of the things that the geek pundit space does not cover is indie cinema. We're only talking about Thanos or Aquaman, but there's so many beautiful, wonderful movies, not just from Hollywood, but from all over the world that we don't ever talk about, we don't ever see. And we could turn the Academy Awards into a global celebration, because it's watched, they always say, watched by over 1 billion people.
Around the world.
Let's turn it into a global celebration of cinema, where we're not only talking about what's going to win awards, but we're talking about the movies from all over the world. Make it a day of a cinema smorgasbord.
See, here's the other thing too.
Celebrate indie cinema, international cinema, cinema everywhere.
Do you ever get a chance to go to CinemaCon? in Vegas? Have you ever been?
I've been to Show West. I've never been to CinemaCon since they turned it into.
CinemaCon is great, but you could also incorporate something they do at CinemaCon every year that makes CinemaCon so great, which is every studio. Now, granted, they do it 90 minutes. You'd have to make it like 10 minutes instead of 90. But every studio at CinemaCon every year, they have the presidents of the studio come out and they introduce like a 90-minute preview of all the big films, and they'll show you like 10-minute, 15 minutes of each of the big films coming out that year. You do something like that at the Oscars as well, where you give each studio like now, like after you present Best Supporting Actor, now Paramount coming to the stage, President of Paramount, and they introduce a 10-minute montage clip introducing all the films. You do that, you can increase it from 3 hours. We're always talking about how to make the Oscars shorter, and for good reason. But you can increase it to like 4 hours, and you incorporate. And you take out all these other big montage nonsense things you just, other than In Memoriam, you always keep In Memoriam. But you take out all the other useless montages and do that, the first trailers in between the commercials, all that kind of stuff. People watch the Super Bowl who do not even like sports just so they can see what trailers get played during the commercial breaks. You bring that to the Academy Awards too. It just seems to me like a no-brainer. I don't know why anybody hasn't talked about this or thought about this before.
Because it requires out-of-the-box thinking. You know, like so much of the entertainment business, you're dealing with people that there's too much risk involved, and there's not enough out-of-the-box thinking. But we live in a transformative time. The reason that a video game award show is getting so big is because entertainment's now fractured. There's all kinds. Kids are growing up watching YouTube rather than movies. I mean, there's so much different entertainment options.
I know a lot
now.
of 40 and 50-years that watch YouTube instead of movies.
I mean,
like
our viewership is skews older. But why not? I mean, we live in an era where nobody gets rich doing what someone else has been doing for years and years and years. People get rich, really rich, when they do something new. You know, something like you said, transformative. We're living in a world where that's all we're doing is we're watching the world being transformed. And, you know, our country right now, we have this fracture between people that want to keep doing things the old way and people that want to do things in a new way. And the new innovators are always the people that are going to win in the end.
Yeah, and but it's always the scariest thing too.
It's terrible.
So it's all that as well.